Okay, taking this car for a drive. First thing I want to say is every time you move it out of park up to reverse, you have to always go all the way down here from what I can tell. And there's a park. It's very hard for you to see. This little park button way down at the bottom here, you have to always hit, which I think is the worst location ever. Also, you always have to turn off start stop, which it doesn't save. Now, camera is very nice on this screen. Check it out. We'll get to driving in a sec. Okay, so in a 2016 Mercedes C300, just doing a quick review of it. This is a loaner. I have my Mercedes at the dealership, believe it or not, which you know is a no-no for me. But it could not be avoided because basically whoever the previous owner was, the pins in the brakes, the front brakes, the pads need to be changed, but they were seized. Either whoever they had do the work previously didn't put any anti-seize on the pins that hold the pads, I guess basically together, those pins that go straight across the caliper or what have you. The outside was loose, the inside seemed frozen, so it's up there getting taken care of, and they given me this as a loaner. First impressions of this car, it's very nice. I'd say, remembering what the C-Class was previously, it definitely is a step in a very good direction. But there are definitely some things in particular here that just do need some attention. So I'm going to give you a very honest review, and a review from a guy that has had Mercedes for years, and not just one particular type of Mercedes, but Mercedes through decades. I've had the 80s versions, early 80s 300 SD. I had early 90s 300 D, also turbo diesel, but the E-Class version. 400E, which was a super awesome car, a C280 from the 90s. Late 90s, 2000s. So I've had a few of them, and I've seen how their philosophy to some degree has been altered or has changed or metamorphosed or whatever you want to use. So anyway, getting to the point. This car is nice, but I don't know if the driving experience is what you call special. This one has the four cylinder 2.0 liter. So it's got a turbocharger to get it up to power, and it gives 241 horsepower. That creates a lot of speed off the line, a very specific type of speed. It's a speed for 0 to 60s and things like that. But when you're already moving, it doesn't feel like the most torqueiest thing in the world. And I know I'm comparing my CLS 550 to a C300. Those are two very different cars. But it's something. So let's step aside from the performance, because we're at the light for a second here, and let's talk about this entertainment system. I'm digging it. It's very nice. I'm just using my finger with the touch here, and the screen is incredible. I don't mind this bezel so much because the screen itself is still very large. You got really cool vehicle information stuff that comes up here. That tells you all about your dynamic settings. I'm not gonna lie, I've played around with this some. I don't know a ton yet. I'm only gonna have this car for probably a little bit, maybe half the day today. I got it yesterday, but it is very, very sweet. And then if I move up again, I don't know, engine data, nah, give me back. These nice little buttons right here are awesome because they get you back. If I want to get back to nav, radio, tells, it's nice that they place these here. This black piano, or whatever this stuff is, this black, you can already see the scratch marks coming on. This car only has 281 miles on it total. This is a brand new car. But you can see some of the wear and tear that's already starting to happen on there, which isn't stellar, but I mean, I guess it's expected today. What would you expect? Nice to have some wood right here, or something that's been clear coated heavily. So it's built up quite a bit. It has some clear in it, so that if you do get the scratch marks, it's a little bit hard to see. But I mean, these vents, the way it's designed, it is a very nice car. I'm not the biggest fan. I think this thing has electric steering on it, and especially in comfort mode, when the steering isn't in sport, it's it's woeful. And what I mean by that is there's something that I don't know if anybody's really explained before. I'm going to give you a little. See, it gives you a little power, but and it's good. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just the sound. It sounds like a Volkswagen a little bit to me. I hate to say it. And I know, what are you expecting out of a 4-cylinder? You know, what are you going to get? You know, I get it. I know what you're going to say. And, you know, I definitely don't want the BMW fake piped in noise to make me sound like I got something big and burly when I really don't. So, you know, just understand me. It's a compromise. I agree. But, you know, the steering, back to the steering. So the steering works really interesting because it goes from having a little bit of meat. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit, like just enough for you not to complain, but so much. I mean, it's fine right now, right? It's good. But when you come to a stop at a light, or when you get ready to turn, and I want to also say this, I noticed the same thing in the E300, which they picked me up in and let me drive at the beginning of the day yesterday. When you come to a light, all of a sudden it assists the assist is turned all the way up to 100%. So then you're at a light and the wheel just goes whoop, you know, whoop, like you're in some old Cadillac with a ton of power assist or power steering. And listen, I get the point. You want to make it feel like it's easy in your Mercedes to park it or to drive it in the parking lot. But it's too much, especially if you're slowing down quite a bit and then you're going to go into a turn. It's like you get in this weird confused stage all of a sudden where, look, we're going past the University of Michigan. Woohoo! This is their practice facility over here. I know I got ADD, sorry guys. So yeah, it just all of a sudden gets the car, it gets you really unbalanced as to seeing where the car is, what it's doing. And you feel very strange all of a sudden. You don't feel the most confidence because you're not being very consistent through the turn. This car does not have the air suspension that my CLS has. While it's better than the CLA that I drove before, and I mean, like, literally was going to jaw the fillings out of my teeth, it's not really, I don't know what this guy's doing. It's not the air suspension. And the air suspension you come to, God, see, that's what I mean. You feel it a lot more when you don't have the air suspension. So I kind of wanted to give that idea. I didn't think that the air suspension was a big deal. I thought it was just going to be a big cost in the end. I'm not one of those guys. But now driving, of course, a car with a shorter wheelbase, but without the air suspension, oh my goodness, it makes the C-Class feel like it makes the CLS feel like kind of like a Bentley or something not of the same brand in comparison. Okay, so I will say this though, the transmission, which is probably the 7G Tronic Plus, probably benefits from a little bit better programming in this car. Because in my car, the shifts when you do it manually are a little bit slower. And then in this car, it's a little bit better. It's a lot quicker. And the programming probably is really good. These buttons here, I like them. They're nice. I don't feel like you don't have any of the plastic stuff on that's going to rub off. I'm trying to show you again. There's that parking. You have to release this every single time you take the car out of park, because otherwise the car will roll back and won't know what to do. And it's so far and so far away. It's, you know, you would think that something like that would be put somewhere more important than where it is. Here's your dynamic modes right here, which you can change from Sport to Sport Plus and everything. What I really like is for the radio, you have, you know, some quick buttons. Again, the volume button over here, which works really well. And that's good because sometimes trying to operate this thing here while you're driving is incredibly distractive. They did a really good job with putting these buttons here, putting some stuff up here, and keeping it very clean. Sound system is great. Finally, Mercedes put some decent bass in the car also, so that's good. But yeah, this is just a short review. You know, these buttons here aren't soft buttons, which are nice. I'm always worried about the Audi soft button thing, where, oh yeah, it's so great for the first year or two, you know, it feels great, it's nice, but then after the second year it gets really hot, all of a sudden you feel your button coming off on your hand. Yeah, that sucks. Sucks big time. So I love the fact that they kept some of this more durable, but it's nice. I'm not a big fan. I don't know if this is leather or pleather in this, or some type of fake leather, even on the seats, because it just doesn't feel the same. The CLS has that real leather. I know I'm comparing two very different price points, but I guess what my point is this, is that you can sometimes just buy a new car that that will cost you a certain amount of money, or you can buy a nicer used car, and it depends on your preference. If you don't mind paying a little maintenance, like I'm going to be paying soon, to get those brakes done, or what have you. If you don't mind that, then you kind of have to put these two into consideration, because as much as I like this car, it doesn't really make me say, oh, I need to go out and get this. I mean, oh, this noise, goodness, from just the tires, and because it's not air suspension, I can feel it through me. But you have to make that determination. I don't know if I like the durability maybe of this. I just don't like the way it looks. It looks a lot more fake in this car than it does on mine, and maybe it just has to get worn a little bit. Maybe I'm just used to having a used car to some degree. I'm not going to discount that. Gauges are nice, I guess. They're not the traditional 3-pod system that, the big pod, small that Mercedes used for, decades. So I love this center here, this piece right here in the center, but I don't feel like I'm in a Mercedes when I look at this. You know what I feel like I'm in? I feel like I'm in what is it, a Chevy Cruze. I'm sorry, Mercedes, I hate to say it, I love you guys to death, but this instrument cluster is not world class, especially when it comes to the dials. It just reminds me of a cheaper economy car. And it's sportier. Yes, goodness Lord, it's sportier. But it's not brand specific. And when people buy Mercedes, that's what they're looking for. They whether they get a C-Class, they want to feel like then they have something set apart. And I don't necessarily feel that way. So, long story short, materials in this car are excellent. Very good marriage between durability and luxury. Very good marriage between those two. However, driving experience and feel, not confidence inspiring. Not a BMW 3 Series. I haven't driven the latest ones, but I'm just talking about from like 2010-ish or so. But what is this guy doing? Yeah, why are you stopped in the middle? Oh, okay, gosh. Couldn't see that at all. There's a guy crossing the street. I was trying to be a good driver. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Yeah, stop for pedestrians. That's a good idea to do. Anyway, but yeah, this is not what I would call special. It really reminds me of a Volkswagen Jetta in the way that it feels and drives. Although I might say that the Jetta has a little bit better steering. But just the sound of Mercedes, you're not supposed to make 4 cylinders. You're not supposed to make 4 cylinders. Ugh. Give you a quick acceleration. Foot down. See what I'm saying? It gives you like a lot right initially, but it's the turbo spooled up that way, but the turbo's gone. Turbo's gone. Like after like $5,000, she's peaked, and you're just sitting around. Maybe even a little bit before $5,000, to be honest with you. You get all your turbo boost and you're gone. But the biggest thing is when you're in mid acceleration, like right now, I'm gonna slow down just a little bit because I want to keep everything legal, and I step on it. Okay, yeah, it got there, but the transmission is helping it. It's helping it quite a bit. There's no midway grunt, which I like. I guess because of the 5.5 that I have. No midway grunt. All right. Okay, so maybe I like it.